Dude. The song is like perfect for this right now. I bet you they won't shield this. Yo! Dude, they did not respect the EQ. Hey Sass Squad, in today's video, I'm going to be covering a team that I've been running on my Twitch stream for fun over the last few days. Originally, I was just trying to find something that was really spicy, but as the meta started to develop and I started to get a little bit tighter with the team, I started going 4-1 more consistently, and I still haven't been able to pull off a 5-0, but I feel like a lot of the battles I even lost with this team had win cons. So get ready for some really exciting battles today. Let's jump into it. Some of these sets might have a little bit of a visual glitch because my capture card was acting up when I was recording these sets, but there is enough information to still figure out what happened. Let's get into it. And also, these are some of the first... These are from days ago when I first was trying out this team and figuring out, so there's going to be a lot of spice because the meta wasn't settled in yet. So we're against a Charm Raichu in our first battle here, and I'm going to go for a Rock Slide. They aren't going to shield, so we can just farm down with counter on Raichu. In comes the Lapras, and we're going to get up to a second Rock Slide. We are going to pressure a shield here with Rock Slide, and then we are actually going to switch into Pelipper. And here I was actually hoping to catch a Surf, but unfortunately for us, we do take an Ice Beam, and they end up switching in Drapion. So I'm just going to throw Hurricane. I think Weather Ball could have been a pretty decent option here if they didn't shield. I mean, if they did shield, excuse me, but they didn't shield, so Hurricane was actually very clutch. So now I'm going to bring Beedrill, go just Poison Jab the Drapion down. And as you can see here, the game was my capture card was being a little weird here. But Beedrill is a pretty nice matchup against Lapras because we're not really scared, and it looks like it's Water Gun Lapras. So it didn't really matter. We had 2 shields. We were going to win that match. Our next battle, we get ourselves a Lanturn lead. And this is actually not a bad matchup either. I still want to shield the Thunderbolt just because it's still going to hurt on Sudowoodo, but they end up throwing a Hydro, which honestly is a lot better for us. They insta-swap to Toxicroak after that, and they're actually going to get met with my Pelipper, and I don't know, I should have probably shielded this, but I got a little cocky there, but we still are able to win the switch. And I guess a part of me thought, you know, we really do not want to have a situation where we give this Lanturn some farm down. And we come back in with Sudowoodo, we're able to get off that Rock Slide, we're going to be able to get down to the farm down, we are going to commit. I think we do commit our shield here, and they do throw another Hydro, and in comes the Drifblim. So this is kind of scary for us. I'm gonna throw the Rock Slide. My hopes were that I would switch out and potentially be able to get off another Rock Slide, but unfortunately for me, I didn't really do that, and I just take it. So I'm pretty sure this is a win for my opponent. Yeah, so I just end up leaving the match because there's nothing Beedrill can do to Drifblim. Really nicely done on their end. Alright, so in this battle we get a Crobat lead, and this is a decent matchup for Sudowoodo. This match really comes down to how they decide to bait and shield. So obviously we're just going to throw Rock Slides because it threatens the Crobat. I'm not going to shield the first attack, and it is a Shadow Ball, which we are able to live, fortunately. And they do switch to the Machamp trying to farm me down, and I switch in Pelipper. They make a very clutch decision to not shield, and they are able to pressure shield for me with the Rock Slide, and in comes a Wigglytuff. So in this situation, it's a little scary for me, but I'm going to just try my best to just get off damage. It is a Crobat in the back line, so even though we have Beedrill, which is generally walled by the Poison Flying typing, we are going to try our best to just farm down Wiggly here. I don't even think I shield this move. Yeah, I just take the Ice Beam, and my hopes are to somehow pull off this match still. And there you go. We were able to get to the... We have the Rock Slide almost ready, and because the opponent had no shields, we can knock out Crobat, and we're able to just Poison Jab Wiggly down. Right, in this next battle, we get a Pidgeot lead. This is actually a really good lead for Sudowoodo, because the counters are going to add up over time, even though Pidgeot is pretty bulky in this league. There's no moves that really threaten me. Even if it Brave Birds me, I'm okay with this. And a lot of times, the Pidgeots are not going to want to throw Brave Bird because they don't want to be racking up more counter damage. So as you can see here, we just win the lead. They bring in Hypno. I'm going to actually bring in Pelipper on the Hypno. But they bring in their Shadow Bomb of Snow, and believe it or not, this is actually a better scenario for us because we are going to try to just go straight Hurricane here. If they commit the shield, then it's going to be really good for us. And they do feel like this Bomb Snow will be a part of their win con. So now that I know that I got all their shields, I remove my Pelipper, I bring in Beedrill, I'm going for a farm down. I'm going for double X Scissor on Hypno. I'm going to shield the Thunder or Fire Punch, whichever it is. And once I get to the 2 X Scissors, I'm going to just launch my energy, and we should be in a good position to take this as our win. So yeah, I mean, even though Beedrill has that poison typing, a lot of times it can actually perform pretty decent against Hypno, especially in this format. So yeah, pretty crazy battle so far. This is why I wanted to showcase this first set. This battle is just insane. So we get a Coffin lead, and this is not generally good for me. I don't really have a lot on my team that can deal with this Pokemon. And I didn't know what I should do. I didn't know if I should switch out, if I should stay in. I end up switching Sudowoodo out with a little bit of energy and bring my Pelipper in. They do have this Magneton, but fortunately for us, we are able to generate a decent amount of energy before it comes in, allowing us to have double Weather Balls stored up, which will kind of threaten Magneton. I mean, we are able to deal a lot of damage and threaten a shield. We are going to shield there. We are just going to let ourselves go down. Bring in Pseudo. I'm trying to go for the farm down. I just barely make it. This is huge right here, actually. Me farming down and getting this Rock Slide. And I didn't know if they'd bring in Coffin here, but I just throw the move because I saw they brought the Coffin in. I thought they were just going to try to waste my energy or something. And that's the only reason I was able to pull off this win, because I'm able to just get to the X Scissor before the Coffin can do anything. And the back line is a Trevenant, which, because I have this shield, I will be able to outpace with Poison Jabs and X Scissors before it can really threaten. Sure, there's virtually no way they could have won this at this point, because I had that shield. Even if they bait, like you saw, they didn't have enough energy to get to the Shadow Ball. Right, here are some more battles on my journey. Dancing around with Sudowoodo, trying to figure out if this is a good team, if this team is just too spicy. I would say this team is absolutely spicy, because Sudowoodo definitely is a Pokemon that I think there are better picks for a counter user. I mean, people could even arguably just run Wobbuffet, and it's pretty dang good in this format. But yeah, we get a Ninetales lead for this battle, and that's pretty satisfying to just remove this Ninetales comfortably. I'm not even afraid of the Weather Ball, so I'm just going to take it. And, you know, our counters are really punishing this opponent right now. And they bring in the Alolan Muck. We are going to bring in our Pelipper. And we're just going to start throwing Weather Balls, trying to get damage off on this Muck. I'm not going to actually shield this. I'm going to let it go through. I think my thought process was I can just use Beedrill. And I bring in Beedrill. I'm going to go, I think, straight for a farm down and just have a bunch of energy stored up. And yeah, we're not going to shield the Dark Pulse. In comes the Obama. We get a little bit of lag, but because we have great coverage against beating something like Obama Snow, we essentially just remove it from the field. In comes the Muck. We have another X Scissor built up from just that little bit of farm down we have left, and that is game. Yeah, I think like when I first started using this team, it was really hard. I actually originally was trying Sudowoodo, Mantine, and Seviper. So in this match, we get a Greedent lead. They opt on switching out and they catch this Rock Slide on their Machamp, which is pretty clutch for them. But I'm just going to bring a Pelipper and punish them, and I will shield. It doesn't really matter if I'm getting baited or not, in my opinion, because they definitely had energy for Rock Slide. So they bring back in Greedent, and we're just going to take the crunch to the face. I have 2 Weather Balls. I'm going to launch them here on this Rodent, and there you go. Damage is damage. The Greedent can't farm us, so it has to throw energy if it wants to remove Pelipper. And we do end up farming Greedent virtually almost dead, and we can farm down a little bit with just our Sudowoodo. In comes the Knockdown, and we're not really too threatened by this. I mean, Shadow Ball will do a chunk, but the fast attacks are not threatening us, and I'm pretty sure we could even eat a Shadow Ball and still pull off the victory here. And that's pretty much what we do. We just let it go through, and at this point I can even like kind of bring in my Beedrill to kind of go for like a BM with the Poison Jab, and that's pretty much what I do. Pretty much using it as a third shield and extra, you know, just a more safer way to win that match. So we have a Beedrill lead here, which is kind of scary, but we're just going to throw the Rock Slide, and we make an amazing switch here to Pelipper, which pretty much any move it through here wasn't going to do anything. I don't know why the Beedrill opted out to stay in here. I almost thought it was like Sludge Bomb or something, but I was like, you know what, I don't think it is. I don't know why they're staying in. And fortunately we didn't fall for the bait, and in comes the Lapras. We already have a lot of energy, so we throw a Hurricane, it punishes this Lapras. They go for a Surf, and that's fine. Now we're just going to farm down Lapras with counter on our Sudowoodo here. In comes Drapion. So I think here, I don't remember if I bait or not. I think okay, I do just the Rock Slide. I figured I have 2 shields, and yeah, we can bring in Beedrill right after we get their shield, if that's what the Drapion planned on doing. And we have a pretty positive matchup here because we have Beedrill versus Drapion and Beedrill. So I'm going to throw this Drill Run, remove the Shadow Drapion, which is huge. In comes this Beedrill. I figured I might not be able to get off a move in time, so we actually CMP'd here. So they were trying to remove me before I Drill Runned it, and it didn't really matter if I threw that move. I was still going to win with Sudowoodo, but I thought that was kind of interesting that we CMP'd, and obviously they didn't want to get hit by a Drill Run. Alright, so here is our next battle. We get a Pelipper lead. This is pretty difficult. I'm going to actually try to insta-swap into the mirror. In comes a Ferrothorn, and you know, I just figured I'm just going to let it go if this is Thunder. It's a Power Whip, so that allows us to at least get off a Hurricane. So I'm just going to throw this Hurricane, and the Ferrothorn doesn't shield, and what I'm thinking is maybe I will commit a shield at this point and farm down the Ferrothorn. And fortunately for me, that works out, and I have a little bit of energy stored up. I probably should have just gone for Weather Ball here, because I felt like they were going to shield, and that's pretty much what happens. Definitely a little scary. Like, this match, I don't think I really have a good matchup. I don't know what I was thinking about just throwing a straight Hurricane there. I guess I was thinking maybe they knew that I would try to bait, and they would try to eat a Weather Ball. But yeah, really great call on their end. Really tough battle. So here I'm not going to bait at all. I'm just going to throw the Drill Run, and I guess it does kind of work here. But yeah, we're still in a pretty bad position if you ask me. My Beedrill is going to throw X-Scissor, and yeah, I don't... I can't outpace a Pelipper, so I just leave the match. Yeah, that was a tough one to come back from. Alright, so actually in this next one I get a pretty nice matchup against the Magcargo. They bring in Greedent, and we're not really too afraid of this matchup, so I'm not going to throw energy to do damage or get a shield, and then switch to Beedrill. And Beedrill can tank Crunch or Body Slam. As long as we don't get a defense drop from the Crunch, we can actually take 2 moves pretty solid here. So what I'm going to do with Beedrill is I'm actually going to like not shield at all, except for this last one, because I guess I do shield. But me getting this much energy is pretty valuable, because the way I looked at it, if they bring in Magcargo, we can double Drill Run, threaten it, and they actually don't bring in Magcargo here, but they bring in the regular Stunfisk, which is actually a Pokemon that extremely threatens our line. Fortunately for us, we're able to get off all that damage. I switched to Sudowoodo, and it forces them to switch. I mean, they didn't actually have to switch out there, but they wanted to switch to Magcargo. They actually are running Rock Tomb, so I wanted to build up a little bit of extra energy, knowing that we needed to get off another charge move on the Stunfisk. And this is maybe the scary part on my end. I didn't have the switch timer in my favor. I shielded that, and I'm like, I guess I have to throw this EQ. And if I didn't have that attack drop, this could have definitely been lethal on the Stunfisk. But now we're in a situation where I don't really have a good switch in, so I bring in my Pelipper. Pelipper is just going to get one shot by a discharge, but the clutch Beedrill comes in, and I'm able to just get to the X-Scissor right before I can die, and I can knock out this Stunfisk. That was a pretty insane battle, actually. So let's see what our next battle entails. So in this one, it's not really good for us. We're going to have a Machamp lead, really difficult lead to endure. I felt like this was a cross chop, so I just did not shield, and it was a really great call on my end. In comes the Pidgeot. I should have probably just gone straight. No, this worked out good. You know, it's like tough to know if you should bait or not here. I know Hurricane does. Obviously, Hurricane is a better move in regards to doing damage, but I didn't really know what to do here, and I brought in my Beedrill, and I think this person actually has a Knockdown on their team, if I remember correctly. Yeah, so this was a really tough team to try to overcome, because now I'm in a position where I really don't have a win con. So yeah, that's game for me. Alright, so this next one is pretty spicy because we had a Cradily lead. Cradily is pretty threatening to our team, and we bring in Pelipper because I didn't really want to stay in with my Sudowoodo. And in comes their Stunfisk, which, you know, is another Pokemon that's super threatening to my line. Fortunately for me, they do shield this first Weather Ball, and I'm just going to let Pelipper go to the discharge because there's really no reason to try to contest for shields here. I'm going to bring back in Sudowoodo on the Stunfisk, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go straight EQ. In my mind, if they know Sudowoodo, they might suspect that I might just try to use a rock move, or try to bait here. So I'm just going to go straight for the EQ and just knock out this Stunfisk. And in comes Cradily. We're going to switch directly to our Beedrill. I don't want to get hit by Stone Edges, so I have to commit a shield. And I'm going to throw the X-Scissor, hoping I can get their last shield here. And that's exactly what happens. So we're going to commit another shield to their Stone Edge because we can pretty much farm down at this range. And they end up having Wigglytuff in the back line, so that's pretty much game. Yeah, I end up just going for the Drill Run because it does do more. And yeah, we have double Drill Run, and we're just going to knock out both of these Pokemon. GG's. Alright, so in this next one we get a Lickitung lead, and we have to be wary of Power Whip. Since we are a rock type, we can eat Body Slams, but I'm a little nervous, so I actually shield this first one, and they do Body Slam. I will throw Rock Slide in retaliation, and they don't shield at all, which honestly is probably better for us because we're not a stab fighter, so we will kind of struggle to get this Lickitung down fast enough. And I'm just going to decide, you know, it's not worth committing 2 shields this early. Unfortunately for us, they do try to bait there. But now we have 2 Rock Slides stored up essentially, so we're going to throw one, and then we're going to throw a second one on this Hypno. And we're going to deal damage, and here I'm going to bring in Pelipper, and I'm able to get to the Weather Ball before they throw any energy, which will force them to shield. I think at this point, I decide I'm just going to let the move go through. And interesting enough, they have Fire Punch, and yeah, that feels bad, because if they had Thunder Punch, it would have definitely knocked me out. But now, because of the scenario that outplayed, I'm going to actually shield Pelipper and get a Hurricane off on this Snorlax and remove it. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm actually going to bring in Beedrill, and I'm going to try to just do as much Poison Jab damage as I possibly can. Fortunately for us, we actually can still just eat a Fire Punch and all these confusions and still get to an X-Scissor and win the game. Yeah, Beedrill is pretty clutch in this format for sure. Alright, let's see what this opponent does. Okay, so in this match we get a Marowak lead. They end up switching into their Lapras. I'm just going to stay in on this matchup. I think I wanted to switch out the Beedrill earlier, but I kind of messed up, so now I'm going to just try to get a shield from this Lapras and then bring in Beedrill. And the thing about this matchup too is we can eat some moves from Lapras and threaten with X-Scissor, and even when the Marowak comes in, this isn't really the worst matchup for us because we can still get to a Drill Run before the Marowak can farm us down. And that's exactly what we do. We get to a Drill Run, and I think Marowak just takes it. So here I'm gonna just bring in Pelipper because the counters are gonna take too long to try to farm down, and we decide not to shield. And fortunately for us, it's crazy because they actually tried to bait us. They bring in a Low and Sandslash, and we can just go ham here. I didn't want to risk taking the damage, so I do shield, and they just end up quitting because they knew there was really no way Marowak was going to come out on top with what I had left. So this battle is just insane how I play this. So I make a really great switch here on the Dryalgi to their Aqua Tail, allowing my Pelipper to get a little bit of energy here. In comes Drapion, and we're not going to shield, but we do get hit by a crunch, which unfortunately kind of negates the energy lead that we did do early on. And yeah, we do get damage off on this Drapion still, so I'm actually just going to bring in Beedrill and go for a farm down in hopes of getting some energy. And they end up bringing back in Dryalgi, and I decide at this point I don't really have a great win condition here, so I'm not even going to try to bait, and they don't shield, and I'm able to essentially remove this Dryalgi. And here we are, another situation where I honestly have no win con. So I just decide I'm just going to go straight nuke, and they don't shield, assuming I'm trying to do the only route that makes sense to win the game. And we clutch a win there. Yo, that was just insane. We made a great call there not to try to bait there and just go for the nuke moves, because, you know, it makes sense why the opponent didn't shield if I was trying to bait those moves. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, like I was saying earlier, Sudowoodo is kind of spicy, but does have some really nice matchups, especially against something like Magcargo. And we don't want to get cheesed here by an overheat. But if we shield the overheat, then it kind of forces Maccargo to switch out, because it's going to be doing more damage for itself than against me in that situation. And that's exactly what happens. We make the right call, and in comes the Hypno. We're going to get off a Rock Slide. And I'm not going to shield, I'm just going to let them remove my Sudowoodo at this point. But they end up throwing a Thunder Punch, and I live, so I'm just going to bring in Beedrill now, knowing that it has Thunder Punch, not Fire Punch. And we can eat a Thunder Punch and still kind of threaten the X-Scissor here. So that's exactly what we do. And the Hypno ends up just going down. And in comes that Magcargo, and, you know, I'm just going to throw the X-Scissor in hopes that maybe they are afraid. But they actually made a switch into Knockdown. Pretty good switch, if you ask me. But now I'm just going to bring in Pelipper. And what I'm going to do is like try to get off these weather balls and do damage. And I guess I thought, you know, maybe I could just take the Shadow Ball. And I suppose that actually was the right assumption, because I was able to eat it relatively decently and throw another weather ball. We are able to knock out the Knockdown, and in comes the Magcargo again. We're going to throw Rock Slide to threaten the last shield on Magcargo. But I do think at this point we actually just get to the second Rock Slide and just knock it out with the Sudowoodo. GG. Right, so in this battle, this one's pretty crazy because we lose to the Escavalier. I'm going to try to switch into Beedrill because Beedrill has a nice matchup against Escavalier. And they bring in Olomomola, so I'm in a situation where I wanted to throw double X-Scissor there. It was a little bit of a mistake because I wanted to deny a fast attack if I could. But we are still able to threaten this Olomomola, and we don't want to get just wiped off from a Psychic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to go for the farm down. Even though we shielded, at least we win the switch. And in comes the Escavalier, and we're able to get to a Drill Run. And I'm just going to throw the X-Scissor because maybe they assume this is just double Drill Run. But no, they make a great call and they do not shield. But now we can realign the entire battle to our favor. And there really isn't anything that I'm afraid of. Even a Mega Horn will still kind of hurt though, realistically. But they bring in their Lapras, and now I'm going to bring in my Sudowoodo. And we obviously want to shield one of the Surfs here. I can actually take a Surf. So we will be able to threaten with a Rock Slide, and in comes a Surf. We are able to live it and still get to a Rock Slide and knock out the Lapras. And you can already see where this is going to go, because we're at such low health that we're not really going to give the Escavalier any energy that it needs. We already had a Weather Ball loaded on Pelipper. We just knock out Escavalier with one wing attack after the Weather Ball. Yeah, that was a pretty insane battle to bring back. This one's really tough too. I didn't mean to hit that fast attack, but you know, it happens. And in this matchup, I'm just not going to shield the Mud Bomb. I'm just going to eat the first one. And in comes the Greedent. So we have two X-Scissors loaded up, and we're not threatened by the fast move, so I'm just going to throw these moves in hopes that we can actually do something here. And the Greedent does end up shielding once. I think I decide that I'm just going to let this go and try to get a farm down with Sudowoodo on the Greedent. So that's exactly what I do. I have the 2 shield advantage. I know they have Toxicroak. If I can force a shield on Toxicroak, then we should be pretty decent having something like Pelipper in the back, even if it's like Ice Water in the back line. So we get the farm down, in comes a Toxicroak. We're just going to straight EQ here. We're not even going to try to bait. And fortunately for us, we just eliminate this Pokemon from battle. So here, because I already have like so much energy, I'm just going to throw this Rock Slide and get the shield on Drapion. And then I'm going to switch to Pelipper because I know that I should be able to get to a Weather Ball and help finish off this match. A little bit of lag there, kind of unfortunate, but we are able to still get off our Weather Ball, fortunately. And yeah, even if they use a move here, we can just farm down with Sudowoodo at this range. I thought maybe with that lag they had enough energy or something, but yeah, fortunately for us it still worked out in our favor. This next matchup is just a really nice lead for us. They bring in Pelipper, we're going to just bring in the Mirror. This was kind of interesting how it plays out because I didn't want to risk getting hit by a Hurricane, and fortunately for us that is kind of what they do, is throw the Hurricane. For us, we're just going to throw Weather Balls here. And we're going to throw double Weather Ball, which at this point we can farm down. And we don't have to worry about shielding because we know whatever they throw here is absolutely a Weather Ball, knowing that we shielded Hurricane correctly. So yeah, we can actually win the switch. And in comes Berserker. We're going to generate a little bit of energy and start throwing Weather Balls here. We're not going to shield with Pelipper, obviously. The thing is, like, if they want to try to farm down, we are going to get a shield here because we are able to get to another Weather Ball, and if they didn't shield, it would just eliminate them. So what I'm going to do is actually just switch the Beedrill to catch them off guard, and it works because they end up throwing close combat there, and Beedrill just eats that like it's nothing. And in comes Wishcash, and I'm able to get a Drill Run off. I'm not going to shield and just take a Mud Bomb to the face, which fortunately for me, I can still live that. And, you know, this is still really close. But I'm pretty confident that with Sudowoodo in the state it is, I can still threaten a shield with Rock Slide here. And they do end up shielding. I'm just countering down. I switch into my Pelipper knowing that I can eat these fast attacks. And we are able to essentially just eat the Mud Bomb. And I honestly just eat another Mud Bomb because I know I can live one and that I will be able to farm down at that range. In comes a Berserker. I'm just going to throw Rock Slide because at this range, even though it's a Steel type, it will knock out. Yeah, my screen got a little messed up there, but as you can see, I did end up farming down the Wishcash when it came back in. So we did win that battle. Alright, so we get a Trevenant lead. This is pretty difficult. I'm going to switch out directly to Beedrill. In comes the Maccargo. Honestly, this was really scary, but we did make the great call to actually try to get the 2 drill runs here, because we do make it the 2 drill runs, and we can force a double shield on Magcargo, which in my opinion is huge in this matchup. And I'm gonna bring in Pelipper at this point. I don't recall exactly what did they bring in here? That was a great switch, by the way. Oh yeah, it's the Knockdown switch. So we bring in Sudowoodo here, and maybe not the best decision on my end to play it this way, but we do get a knockout here on Knockdown before it can really do anything. And in comes Trevenant. The Seed Bomb will hurt, but we are able to live it. We can get off a Rock Slide, and again, this is probably really bad for us, if you were to ask me. I'm going to try my best to do something here, but yeah, I think they end up just throwing Shadow Ball here. No, they do throw a Seed Bomb, and they switch in the Magcargo, and they have the Stone Edge, and that is GG for me. Really great game on their end. Yeah, I think if I would have like played that a little tighter, maybe I had a chance. But yeah, Trevenant lead is a little tough. So we get another Trevenant after that, and I'm like, I have to play this better. Like, we did a decent start, but yeah, I think with Pelipper, we definitely are fortunate we're going to get rid of this, like, Crustle. Like, this switch in Beedrill, actually, even though, you know, it was a little scary, we did a decent amount of damage. And I'm just going to let the Rock Slide go through and hit me. I just want to farm down Crustle at this range. Alright, in comes the Trevenant again. And, you know, this time I'm actually just going to shield. And I think what I do is I build up 2 rock slides, or I try to at least, and I'm going to throw a rock slide. And they end up shielding. I'm going to switch in Pelipper. I'm putting a lot of bank right now on my Pelipper. So I'm just going to eat this first move, hoping it's a Seed Bomb bait. Fortunately for me, that is what they do. I will throw the Weather Ball, which Trevenant can pretty much eat this, but this will allow me to shield and farm down Trevenant. Again, they still have a really good position, but they do end up having Toxicroak here in the back line. So the only way we can really pull off a win here is if I make the sack swap properly, but that doesn't happen. We Rock Slide, and yeah, unfortunately for us, I didn't even have to switch out here. Like, I got a little premature on the switch, and if I would have just stayed in Weather Ball, I would have won that game. So yeah, a little mistake on my end, but sometimes when you're having those tight panic moments, you can make the wrong call. So here we have a Greedent lead, and I'm just going to stay in and throw Rock Slide. I don't think I guess I decided after, I guess after that, like, maybe Beedrill can just come in and we can bait out whatever might try to take care of Beedrill. But they're just going to throw their moves, and we're just going to let that happen. And then we're going to try to remove this Greedent and just mess up the switch clock. I think at this point, I just shield and farm down, just so I can have a little bit of energy. And in comes a Machamp. So I know that they probably won't shield us expecting a bug move, but because we throw the Drill Run, we can just clutch it and switch to Pelipper and farm down before the Machamp does anything. And it was pretty clear this is going to be a Seed Bomb, and I'm just gonna build up energy and then go for a double Weather Ball here. And they don't shield the first one, but yeah, at this point we just need damage off because Trevenant is a little difficult to beat what we have here in the back line. I think I decide with a shield I could probably safely counter down with Sudowoodo, and yeah, that's essentially what happens here. GG. Alright, so let's see what we get in our next battle here. Alright, yeah, so again, some really nice... I've been seeing a lot of Magcargo and Knockdown play in this format. A good lead for us. They stay in, and again, we don't want to be hit by the Overheat, but they end up switching out into Poliwrath, and fortunately for us, we can kind of like wall this Pokemon with Pelipper. So I'm going to bring it in and just kind of like go for a little bit of farm down, but instead of just farming, I'm just going to go for Hurricane, remove this, knowing that we're not like necessarily afraid of the Magcargo, and we might actually just be baiting to see what it has. And we do end up just letting the Magcargo knock out Pelipper so we can waste its energy. We're going to use this as an opportunity to kind of farm down with Sudowoodo to get an energy advantage. So they end up using Rock Tomb, which I think might prevent me from getting a complete farm down on this Pokemon. So what we're going to end up doing is trying to bait out a move here and use Crobat as like a... use our Beedrill as like a second or third shield here. We're going to throw the Drill Run, and unfortunately for us, this is a little scary still, because they could potentially Poison Fang and nuke us. I think we are going to make it though to the double Rock Slide, just barely. And that was a little sloppy on how that whole battle played out. But yeah, fortunately we can still get double Rock Slide and win that battle. Alright. So in this one we get a Drapion lead, and I don't know why I decided to stay in here. I feel like a lot of times I've swapped to Beedrill, but I decided in this match I'm just going to stay in and take an Aqua Tail. It's a little laggy, but we are able to get to the Rock Slide, and they don't shield it, so I think at this point I'm going to bring in Beedrill and eat another move. They decide to stay in, and I think I end up just letting the move going through. I thought it might be a crunch, but fortunately for us it wasn't, and then they brought in... Isn't this the Dene? Yeah, I was really confused at first when I saw this come in, because... yeah, I guess they just wanted to threaten my shields back, but yeah, we have a pretty nice situation here to just kind of like farm it. And we are able to get our energy back up, and they end up just quitting the match at that point. Alright, so in this battle we get a Knockdown lead, and yeah, this one, again, pretty decent lead. Even Shadow Ball, we're not like absolutely too threatened by it, so more than likely we'll just eat a Shadow Ball. But we decide, you know, because of the nature of the beast, we can probably shield these and win this matchup purely on shielding and throwing rock slides back. And they decide to opt out on that. So because they're essentially in farm down range, I'm just going to let the Shadow Ball in, this time knowing that I can eat it. But in comes Politoed. I'm going to contest the Politoed with Beedrill, and I'm just going to throw a Drill Run in. You'd be surprised how much this does to even something like Quagsire. So we do still pull off a significant amount of damage. I'm just going to let this Quagsire take care of me. I'm going to bring in the Pelipper and try to get to a Weather Ball. I think we do that, but it won't be able to knock out Quag because they do shield. So what we're going to end up doing here is we're going to just get to the Weather Ball and just remove this Quagsire, because at this point, this is really the only thing threatening my win condition. We switch back in on the Politoed, and the reason why I'm doing this is purely because I wanted to waste this Politoed's energy, and I knew I could get to the Rock Slide, and I felt like if I waited any other way, knowing that I didn't actually have a move loaded yet on Sudowoodo, it would have probably ended it worse for me. So being able to do that and force the Weather Ball on the Politoed puts me in a situation where, you know, maybe I don't get scared of the Blizzard, but fortunately for us, they're not even running it at all. So we didn't even have to, like, there was really no way they could have came out on top there against Pelipper. Okay, so in this next battle, we get a Clefable lead. I decided to stay in and go for Rock Slide. I feel as if I don't switch out here. Excuse me. I think I just stay in and I let... Oh, I do end up shielding because I get the other Rock Slide. So here I'm just gonna like try to remove Clefable, and they end up shielding. So we do trade shields here, and I can bring in Beedrill just to farm down to get a little bit of energy lead. They bring in Polion, and I'm going to go for a Drill Run. I don't think they respect the Drill... no, they do respect the Drill Run here. But fortunately for me, I can actually get to a second Drill Run and knock out this Empoleon still. So we do trade shields, and bam, Empoleon is gone. And I had a feeling they would have a Fairy type in the back based on how they were playing that match. But here I'm going to just go straight Hurricane. I'm not even going to mess around and just remove this Wigglytuff from the field. GG's. Alright, so in this next battle, we end up getting a Contonian Muck lead. And I'm not really afraid of this lead, so we're just going to stay in and start throwing Rock Slides. I mean, even though our Fast Attack's not doing a lot of damage, we're just going to stay in and try to threaten this Muck. And it works out in our favor. We make a nice switch to Beedrill where they throw an Acid Spray, and honestly we're not even like that, it's not even that big of a deal because we already got enough energy to, I mean, they are trying to farm me straight down because of the Acid Spray, which might have been an issue on their end because now we've pretty much contested all their shields, and I had a feeling they'd be trying to throw a Surf here, so I just brought in my Pelipper knowing that I could eat the move, and then I decided to bring in Sudowoodo for a farm down, and I will commit one shield on their Surf, and then another shield. That way I can just get a clean farm down and have a lot of energy here on my Pseudo. They bring in Machamp, and the beautiful thing about this is my Earthquake will in fact knock out Machamp. So yeah, really crazy battle here because, sorry, I keep hitting my mic. Really crazy battle because they throw this move, and I think they undertap that. But yeah, GG's. Alright, so in this next one we get a Pidgeot lead, and yeah, again, this is a good matchup. They generally do not throw the Brave Bird, but then this Pokemon came in, and I was like, wait a second, what is going on here? This is an XL Chansey. So I'm going to just switch in Beedrill because I'm thinking we probably need our Sudowoodo against Pidgeot. And Psychic comes through, but we can still live a Psychic. And I'm just going to try to get off as much damage as I possibly can on this Chansey. Like, this is kind of a nightmare because in my mind I'm like, is this supposed to be a stall team or something? That answer will be answered soon enough. So they switch in their Pidgeot again, and they end up shielding Beedrill for whatever reason. And we switch back in our Sudowoodo. We are able to connect a Rock Slide before they use Feather Dance. And in this situation, I'm thinking, maybe I need to shield a Brave Bird, even though it's not going to like do the worst. Because I felt like I needed to have my Pseudo at good health. They do a great job at baiting me. And then they bring in Wobbuffet, and I was like, oh no. Can I even win this match? Like, this is a bulk fest. And I'm at minus attack right now with my Pseudo. So, I don't know why I stayed in. I even, like, when I was streaming this and I was just, like, panicking. I was, like, talking to chat, like, I can't believe I didn't even hit all the damage bubbles here. Like, I just got so confused, you know? But then I remembered, I can't be afraid of this because Wobbuffet doesn't have, like, any attack stat, really. Even these returns we can kind of eat on Pelipper. And they make an interesting switch here to their Chansey. And I'm just like, you know, I'm not messing around with this thing. I'm just going to throw Hurricane. And fortunately for us, we just knock out Chansey. And now we have the rest of our back line to try to just eliminate Wobbuffet, this punching bag. And, you know, this battle takes so long. You know, I can't believe someone actually runs a team like this. Your sets have to take forever. But, yeah, so I didn't know if I would come out on top because obviously this is still a really scary line. And fortunately, we are able to just clutch it here with all this damage where we can just barely come in with something like Beedrill even and Poison Jab. Alright, so in this next one, I make a big mistake in not just throwing my Rock Slide. You'll actually see I throw my Rock Slide right as I get it. I click on it to CMP, but it doesn't register the CMP. So I decided to throw a little bit of extra energy, which is a huge mistake on my end because I could have threatened the shield from Frostlass, which you'll understand why this is a huge deal moving forward. So I'm going to bring in Pelipper on this Empoleon, which I do have a generally pretty decent switch here. I'm going to shield the Drill Peck, and I'm going to go for Hurricane. And understand, like, if I had the shield from this Empoleon, we really would have had a nice matchup against the Frostlass when it came back in with Pelipper still, because the Weather Balls do still chunk away at it. And because they have those two shields, it's just really scary. And the way the match ends up playing out, even I end up trying to make a sack swap here in hopes to try to bring back momentum. But I feel as if because of this, it's just a really tough one to bring back, and our opponent does a great job at maintaining their their whole momentum shift. So they make a really great switch here as well into Drapion, which kind of negates even my switch. So here, what would have been really ideal is if I had a switch to my Beedrill and I was able to get Drill Runoff, but unfortunately for us, they were able to get this farm down significantly enough where they were able to get the crunch off, and they're just gonna remove my Beedrill here with Avalanche. And there's nothing I can do at this point, so great game. If we could have removed that Frostlass, that would have been ideal. So in this next battle, we get a Knockdown lead, and obviously this is really good, but they're gonna stay in, and I'm gonna go for a Rock Slide. I know I can take a Shadow Ball and still put a lot of threat against this opponent, but they end up switching to Empoleon. And in my mind, I'm like, maybe they're thinking they're going to catch a Rock Slide, but I just throw the EQ, it connects, big connect, and then in comes a Primeape. And I'm going to just switch in the Primeape because I'm not really afraid of any charge moves Primeape might possess. They don't shield the Weather Ball, so now we're in a farm down range. They end up throwing Close Combat, and that still does a decent chunk, even though we resist that. Here, I'm going to actually commit a shield. It wasn't really necessary I did that. But now I'm going to throw a Weather Ball, try to chunk some damage away at Knockdown, and now we're just going to let the Knockdown remove me. Yeah, I could have essentially just brought in Sudowoodo originally instead of shielding at all, but yeah, I guess this is an okay situation. Interesting enough, I bring in Beedrill and just throw Egg Scissor, and we do get a shield. It's kind of crazy because I can farm down at that range and they just leave. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, those are all the battles today. If you enjoyed this, consider following me on Twitch to check out some of the battles. I'm going to be trying to go spicy this season. But also, I'm getting close to 1,000 subscribers, so it would really mean a lot to me if you subscribe to me this holiday season. And if you enjoyed this, let me know below in the comments if you enjoyed watching Sudowoodo dance away through all these battles. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, the Sass Squad is getting stronger each and every day. You have a good morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you're tuning in. and I'll see you next time.